All right, well, we've been talking about this for a couple of days and been looking forward to it and really pleased to have KJ Wright, former Seahawks linebacker, Seattle legend, I think, at this point. Yes. They throw that Seahawks legend banner around now pretty loosely, but I think it's, with you, an absolutely fair description. Seahawks legend KJ Wright. How you doing?
I like the ring to that. I'm doing good.
Ring is part of the reason why, right? You have a ring while you were here. That's one of the things that helps make you a legend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How you doing?
I'm real good, man. Excited to be here. Met you a couple of weeks ago for the first time. And
yeah.
Glad to be on. I seen you on Twitter here and there, and I was like, I need to get in the studio with Mike because he said some stuff that I don't quite agree with. But
what'd I say? I see. This is the problem. I get myself into trouble. Everyone only wants to talk to me because they disagree with me. I got Sherm blocked me. Doug can't stand me. Bobby and I get along okay now.
Yeah.
Did I say something to make you mad?
I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
Can't remember.
Typical.
But so far, we good. We good.
Hey, at least it's you. Usually all I hear is like, oh, my friends told me you said so-and-so, or, somebody told me that you were talking ill about me. I get it.
Yeah, but you're in a tough spot. It's media.
It's part of the gig, right?
Honest.
I mean, you got to call it like you see it. I think that, in the last couple of years, the Seahawks haven't been the same as they were in your first 5 or so years here, right? I mean, things changed over time, and unfortunately, that ring we were talking about all of a sudden is now close to a decade old.
I agree. With that being said, my last year, we were 12-4.
True.
Won the division, did pretty dang good. And but we had our ups and downs throughout my tenure career, and that's normal. You're gonna have some really highs, you're gonna have some lows, you're gonna have some in betweens. But overall, I believe that my last year there, we was headed in a really good direction. As you saw last season, it didn't look too good.
Fell apart.
It fell apart.
All right, well, let's start back at the beginning and then work our way back up to the end. Take me back. You were a 4th-round pick in 2011. Pick 99?
Pick number 99.
Pick number 99. So in the top 100, what were your first impressions when you first arrived in Seattle?
I was like, man, where the heck am I? This
place.
So
you're from Mississippi.
I'm from Mississippi, and it's night and day. Just the culture, the scenery, the food, everything is completely different. I'm used to catfish and smoked sausages. I come up here, it's a bunch of Asian food, Vietnamese food, all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna starve out here. But this place is pretty amazing. Just see the lakes and the mountains. I absolutely love Seattle.
What about when you first got into the building and started? Who else is in your class? That's James Carpenter, right? Was the first round pick that year.
And Malcolm Smith was the first guy I met from my class.
Okay.
And I met both Malcolm and Coach Norton at the same time in the building, in the linebacker room. They was going over some stuff, and that was my first impression of Coach Norton and Malcolm. And just to see those two guys and build a relationship with them over these past 13 years, has been absolutely amazing.
What about the culture here at that time? I mean, Pete was in year 2 at that point, right? And so things were just starting to turn around. That was the year after they had gone to the playoffs, right? And had the Beastquake and all that. It was the first year without Matt Hasselbeck here in town, so everything had sort of changed for the first time. What was that vibe like?
Well, everything was kind of a blur because it was a lockout year, right? And so when we came here, we was running. And so first day, the next day we had practice of training camp. And then 2 weeks we were playing in a preseason game, so everything was happening so fast for me. But I just remember coming in, everything was going fast. Lofa Tatupu was here in the building, and I latched on to him.
Yeah.
But then he left like a few days later. And so just seeing the business side of the NFL and just being plugged into Mike linebacker because David Hawthorne got injured. Everything was happening so fast.
And that's not really your natural position, right?
I'm off the ball linebacker position, but calling the huddles, getting everyone lined up, I've never done that my whole career. But thank God Norton saw something in me. He found a way to get me on the football field, and I took off from there.
Who were your first friends here?
Malcolm. Who else? Who's all in my class? Michael Morgan.
Yeah, USC guy.
Yep, love Mike. And Sherm's in my class, and so mainly the guys.
What was that like? What was it like the first time you met Sherm?
Talking.
Yeah, who was talking? Him or you?
Sherm was just confident, and man, he hasn't changed, since I first met him. And it's freaking awesome, just the relationship we built over these years. Hall of Famer, awesome guy, lockdown corner. I can't say enough about him.
What did he? I mean, he seemed to know right away that he was going to be special. Did anyone else know right away that he was going to be special?
No. Like he was doing great in practice, all that good stuff, but he was on the shelf. It was Marcus Trufant,
Yeah.
Brandon Browner, Walter Thurman. Sherm was on the back end.
Yeah.
But injury happened, and another injury happened, and he came on the scene making all those interceptions. It was like, oh my God, this guy got to stay on the football field. And so their rookie year was like week 8 when he got on the football field. You know, he hasn't looked back since.
Did you know at the time, or when did you know what a smart football player he was?
Oh.
I mean, one of the things I hear so much about Sherm is, in addition to being bigger, corner, et cetera, that he just has an unbelievable understanding of the whole game.
His football IQ was insane,
Yeah.
and we would be out there, and he would like Ken. He called me Ken. He's like, Ken, when this happens, I'm gonna do this. You do that. We would make up our own defense and our own scheme while we were out there. And he just understood splits of the receivers, what were coming. He understood down and distance. You saw when he was at corner, he was always jumping stuff because he knew what was coming. And so his football IQ was probably one of the best when it came to that era of what we had with guys.
A year later, you met Bobby. He shows up in your linebacker room. What was that like?
Quiet, serious demeanor. Always, he was always prepared. He came in with a mission. Bobby came in with a mission, like, I'm going to be the guy. And it was Bobby, and it was, you remember Baird Rude?
Yeah.
You remember Rude? So they brought in Rude just in case Bobby didn't pan out, but it wasn't even
He was
close.
a veteran, right?
Yeah.
He'd been around for Minnesota or something.
They brought in that veteran presence,
Yeah.
but it wasn't even close. Bobby came in as a rookie, made his plays. We instantly connected on the football field, and it was just instant chemistry.
Did you guys connect off the football field right away, too?
Oh, yeah, just off the football field. Norton, he would always have us having linebacker night. We was always get together and got kids same age, and so it was just perfect chemistry, perfect dynamic.
Yeah,
on and off the field.
I've heard Bobby talk a little bit when he was in here, or I guess he wasn't here. We were on the phone, but he was talking about sort of how you guys all grew up together and kind of went through your, kind of, I don't know whether your wild years together, so to speak. I don't know how wild they were, and I'm not going to get into it, but and then eventually into your more like settling down adult years together, and how important that was that you guys were all together for.
Yeah, because we all went through phases. Like we all came in as young rookies, just trying to make the team, young dudes, and then you saw guys just started growing up, having families, getting married, having kids, and so we all went through these stages together. But at the end of the day, we was always connected with each other. We always had, families together, linebacker night, just going out to Joey's or whatever. So it was always connected, and that's what made us so special on the football field because we were so tight off the football field.
Who had the best wedding?
Sherm got married in DR. That was pretty cool. I had a really good wedding. I didn't get invited to Jermaine Kearse's wedding.
What?
I'm still upset about that.
What's the deal with that?
I don't know, but yeah. Cam, I would have to. Sherm was pretty epic.
Wasn't Earl? Did you go to Earl's wedding?
I didn't make it.
Okay, because that's the one where he was wearing like a crown.
I had the
and stuff,
crown
right?
and all. Yeah,
Of all the weddings to miss, that's the one you got to go to.
I didn't make it to that one.
All right.
Yeah.
Did you get engaged, by the way, on a Boeing tour?
I did.
I read that.
I did.
How did that happen?
Long story short, my wife's family live in Columbia.
Yep.
But they came into town, and so I was like, okay, let me find a way to have everybody in the same place. Her dad loves planes.
Okay.
So I said, let's take your dad on a tour.
By the way, taking a dad on the Boeing tour is like a Seattle tradition.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You have to do
I
that.
said, let's take your dad on a tour, and so we took him there, and I knew the CEO at the time, and I said, hey, can I get engaged here? I would love if you guys could drop a banner off of one of your planes.
Oh.
Will you marry me? Banner. And so they had these guys in a blue suit with a bow tie, and they
Well, that's
dropped
a
the
pretty
banner.
cool deal.
Yeah. A lot of people thought it was corny. I thought it was pretty cool.
I think that's pretty cool. I mean, hearing just you got married, engaged on the tour doesn't sound as cool, but when you tell the story,
Yeah.
oh, that's pretty good. Now it makes mine seem kind of weak. I went to Montreal like some chump. I should have had a banner unfurled like that.
As long as she says yes and you get pictures.
I guess that's true. It took my wife a few minutes to say yes. She's just sitting there like jumping up and down, and I was like, she goes, well, this is exciting.
Yeah.
Like, well,
You didn't
okay.
get the yes.
How about yes?
My wife didn't do it either.
Really?
I stood on my knee. I was on my knee
Yes.
for a while.
Yeah.
Like, is it a yes?
Yeah, I don't want to be down here forever. Like, how about a yes? And she's like, okay, fine, yes. Like, jeez. You talk about the way you guys all came in together. And one of the things Sherm said on his podcast, I don't know, when was that, 6 months ago or so maybe, was that a lot of the success of the defense here was player-driven over the time, and that maybe that had gotten lost over the years. Do you understand what he's trying to say there?
Can you elaborate a little more?
I don't know that I can. I mean, it's Sherm, right? And so, I don't always follow his logic 100%.
Said after the LOB that they got away from maybe teaching the fundamentals as much because the players had kind of taken that on themselves.
Okay, I believe what Sherm was saying is that the Seahawks found a group of guys that got it. They found a group of guys that got it. That were legends. You know, he had a really good, solid group of guys, and I feel like what he meant was they tried to duplicate that with some guys and letting other guys leave the building. And when you know certain guys left the building and these guys stepped in, it didn't quite look the same. And so we let a lot of really good guys go. We like, you know, Brandon Meebang, Chris Clemens, you know, Cliff got hurt. You know, Sherm got cut, and so a lot of guys left the building. When those new guys came in, it didn't quite look the same as what I guess they were thinking it would.
And it's hard, right? And KJ, you must know this now. You've been in the business long enough that you can't keep everybody. Eventually, they have to make choices. There aren't that many guys that have left that have had a ton of success after they've left here, right?
I've never thought about that. Let me think.
And not to say that they didn't have any, and Meebane is probably one of the better examples. He had some pretty good years with the Chargers. Golden had a couple of good years outside here, but nothing spectacular. There aren't that many guys that have left here and afterwards really shined after they were in Seattle.
So what are you saying?
Well, I mean, I think that there's the case to be made that while it was hard on the players who were still here at the time to see friends and teammates go, that for the most part, they made pretty good choices in a world that forces you to do so.
I see what you're saying. So you're saying they hit at the right time.
I think so. I think on the whole, not perfect, and no team is, but I think on the whole, there are plenty of things I think you can criticize the Seahawks for, but I feel like on the whole, they did a pretty good job with that. What do you think?
I've never heard that before. I've never actually looked at guys' success once they left Seattle. But off the top of my head, you may be onto something. I have to go back and actually look. But yeah, that's really interesting to dive into.
It seems like the guys who've left all seem to miss it here. Even if they left not under the best terms, it seems like after they left, they really seem to recognize how great it was here.
This place is special. Seattle is very, very special. It is one of a kind. And you hear other guys coming from other teams that's like, I absolutely love it here. I love Seattle. I love the chemistry that you guys have with one another. I love the music that you guys played. And, you know, I went to Vegas last year. And it was different. It was good, but it was different than what I was accustomed to. And so this place is truly special, and I definitely did miss it when I was gone.
You glad you weren't in Vegas in your 20s?
I'm thankful that I was a 32-year-old man with a wife and kids, or I would have been out 1 o'clock on a Thursday at MGM Casino. So I'm glad that I came in my 11th year.
What you talk about how special it is here. How much of that is Pete?
I think it's all Pete. I think when you look at, you just take it back to USC, like it was phenomenal out there. You know, everybody wanted to be a USC Trojan, growing up. And so he brought that same philosophy, that same energy, that same swag to Seattle. And it was, it looked similar. And so he's just one of a kind when it comes to coaches. He's awesome. He gets it, relates well to the players. And so, he brought the culture here.
What do you think, what do players know about Pete Carroll that the rest of us don't?
What do players know that Coach Carroll don't? I believe that when you go off the field, he has a lot of players, and so he gets it. He understands our struggle. And I told Coach Carroll when I left, I said, I thank you for when you did what this Black Lives Matter movement. You really got it, and you really put us in positions to express ourselves, how we feel as black men to one another. And, you had white guys speaking. You had, everyone speaking to where we can just be vulnerable in this alpha male sport. And so he did that a few times, and I thanked him that he didn't just be like, all right, guys, this is happening. Let's go back to football. He really took his time with us to really just grow as men and really connect as a team.
Man, you're saying he understands the struggle of...
So he doesn't understand, but he
because he hasn't lived it.
Yeah, he understands that it's different. He understands that it's different for a white male and a black male in 2022. And so he doesn't understand what it's like to be...
Is that rare in coaching? I mean, it may be rare in general. Is it rare, do you think, amongst coaches in general?
I believe that when you're in the NFL, you're on the go. You're constantly on the go.
Well, you don't have time for that.
You don't have time for that. And when he did that, I really and truly appreciated Coach Carroll for taking time to do that. And so everyone doesn't have to do that. He didn't have to do that, but he definitely did, and I truly appreciated that. Did that begin with the Black Lives Matter movement a few years ago, or is that something that had always been a part of? He was doing that. He was bringing guys in like year 4, year 5, guys that was in the Black Panther Party, and to just talk about stuff that was going on in their movement. So he's been doing this way before it got quote unquote popular. And so Coach Carroll, he's always been like this, and he always understood it. And so that's just, one of a kind when it comes to coaches.
I would imagine the group of you guys together, and I've heard some of these stories from G because I know he was around you guys quite a bit, that the conversations that took place away from football were not all fun and games. There was a lot of real serious conversation.
Yeah, we went to the production room. And now, guys know
The
about the
production
room. It's a small room
Yeah.
in the VMAC. No one ever uses it, but it's where we just have a real intimate, private conversation.
How big, when you say small room, I mean like the size of the studio?
It's probably like two of these.
Okay.
2 of these.
So small to football players, but big to everybody else.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's just where we have our heart-to-heart moments as players and as men. And it's just, we get away from the team meeting room. When you come into this room, we're going to have a real serious talk. And we also had talks on the hill as well. And so,
the hill outside by the practice field?
And so he just knows that there's a time and place for everything.
Yep.
And we get time to the nitty-gritty and really have a heart-to-heart. Let's get down to it.
What kind of stuff would you guys talk about?
Oh, you're getting deep here.
Yeah.
Just,
Well, because you guys can handle. That's what's so great. I think that's
Yeah.
one of the things that makes your era of Seahawks football so fascinating. In addition to the ferocious play on the field, the characters are unbelievably interesting and, for the most part, really smart.
Yeah.
Right? And I think Marshawn is as interesting as any character I've ever been around. Sherm is certainly right there. I mean, getting a chance to know Bobby a little bit and what he's all about. I could go on. I mean, Earl's a bizarre character in his own right. Cam is such an intense person. I mean, the idea of all of you guys together in one room talking about not just football stuff, but real world stuff is endlessly fascinating to me.
I mean, we just talk about our struggles. We would talk about things that's going on in the world. We also talk about football stuff. Like, hey guys, we suck right now. We've lost the past 2 or 3 games. Let's get down to the root of it. And guys would express themselves. It could get very ugly. It can get heated. But at the end of the day, we all go speak truth. We all go get down to the root of it. And I kid you not, every time we have those moments as a team, we really take off to where we need to be. And so it's just little things that Coach Carroll does to just tap into your mindset, tap into the team dynamic to really take that team to the next level.
Why couldn't it last?
What last?
That level of success, the sustained success that was here for so long. Why couldn't it last?
Honestly, I believe it would have lasted. I believe Super Bowl 49 really that hurt. That really hurt. And I believe that when you talk about trusting one another, team chemistry, team dynamic, that went away. That went away.
Why?
You know why?
Yeah, but tell me why. I mean, everyone has their opinions on it. And I've argued about it with any number of people, including Bobby, because I'll say to this day that throwing the ball in that moment was the right decision, but that it was the wrong play call.
Well, how's it the right decision?
Because you only have one timeout and it's second down. Okay. And if you run the ball and you're stopped, now you got to call a timeout. Now it's third down. You're still at the 1 yard line, and everyone knows you got to throw because you don't have a timeout left. And if they stop that, now you're on fourth down, and the whole world comes down to one play. You have to throw the ball, but you got to have play action, and you got to use Russell's legs and any number of other things.
Yeah,
but you guys don't agree, do you?
Yeah, you're the first person I ever heard say that, and I wholeheartedly disagree. I believe that when we got in shotgun, I was like, "What the hell is going on?" And I believe we should have ran the ball, every time. And so when we did make that decision, that stuck with you. That chemistry was in the air. That energy was in the air. And this can't continue. This can't continue.
You mentioned trust. Was that trust was broken?
Trust was broken. This bond was broken. Like, we out here, guys was playing with torn meniscus and torn elbows and broken shoulders. Like, to do that really hurt. And so just we can't look at each other the same. And so after that, it went downhill.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And I've heard some of these stories before. I mean, is this an element of Russ versus Marshawn? I mean, does it come down to this? Does it feel like there was a need to elevate the quarterback in that spot?
I heard that thing, Russ the poster child.
Right.
We want him to be the hero. I heard that.
You can't believe that, can you?
If I did, was it a conscious decision? Hey, we want Russ to be the guy? Hell no. Hell
It
no.
can't be.
Hell no.
In that moment, you've got to win the game.
No.
Whatever you think is the best thing to do to win the game.
Not at all. Could
Okay.
have been a subconscious thing. Like, you know, you do some things subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Maybe. But to say we want Russ to be the guy, we want him to be the hero, we want him to be Super Bowl MVP. No.
It can't be that.
I'm not buying that.
But even if it's just you totally disagree with the decision, if the coaching staff felt in its heart of hearts as a group that the best way to win that game was to throw the ball in that spot, that even that breaks trust because it was such a wrong decision.
Yeah. I don't know if you overthought it. What the numbers say we should do, one timeout, a minute left, wherever the hell you were thinking.
And with a goal line defense in there. I mean, Belichick left in his goal line defense to stop the run.
Man, oh man, who's the toughest SOB on this football field?
Who was it?
It was us. It should have been us. You got
It was Marshawn in that moment?
Max Unger, Russell Okung. Was Sweezy on that team?
Yes, I believe he was.
J.R. Sweezy, Max, Justin Britt. Come on, I take these guys any day.
Was Breno still on that team? I think he was still at right tackle. Maybe he was gone that year.
I think Breno was gone.
I think he was here for the Super Bowl year.
Britt was the right tackle.
Yeah,
there.
all right. Well, and it was Marshawn. I mean, and he's such an important character in this whole thing, isn't he?
Let's not overthink it. Sometimes you just can't. Just do what you're supposed to do.
What if that was, I assume, the worst moment of your time in Seattle?
One of them.
What else?
That was a pretty low moment. When I tore my knee, my contract year, shuffling in a preseason game, that was mentally probably the worst year I've had since I was Seahawks. I was torn. We talk about mental health, I was on a zero.
Really?
When it came to mental health.
Yeah.
And
the other guys help?
What you mean?
I mean, are you able to go to these guys that you'd become so close with? Are you able to use that relationship to help in a moment like that?
They'll check in on you.
Yeah.
They'll check in on you. Hey, how you doing? How you feeling? And, I give them the BS answer. Oh, I'm getting there, doing good. But deep down inside, I'm torn.
Yeah.
But, they go out right there in the practice and playing the game. So while you're just sitting there on your couch watching TV, that's very hard.
I bet.
That's very hard.
What were your best moments here?
Ooh.
What are your favorite memories?
Getting drafted. The parade was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the parade was way cooler than the Super Bowl, actually. That was just that was a fun time, man. Just to see all those people so happy. And me and Obama was cool.
That's pretty amazing.
Anytime
What'd you say to him?
Hey, how you? Nice to meet you.
Did you get tongue-tied?
Yeah, just nice to meet you. I'm still looking for my picture. I haven't gotten it. But that was pretty awesome, going to the White House. I'm a history nerd, so just going there was cool. So I had a few beating the Cowboys. Anytime I beat the Cowboys, that was the time of my life.
You grew up a Cowboy fan?
I grew up a Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
And they drafted a linebacker in my class.
Oh, really?
Bruce Carter, 3rd round.
No biggie.
No biggie.
Yeah, you don't notice that. You were the 13th linebacker taken, I believe.
Sad.
You know who the 12 or the 13th, 12 or 13
I know a lot of
them.
I know a lot of them.
You know where they're at.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so I had a lot of good moments. A lot of good moments. And
what was your weirdest moment while you were here? Because there were a lot of strange moments during your time with the Seahawks.
Weirdest?
I mean, there was the Fail Mary. There was you in particular in the same end zone.
Batting the ball out.
Yes, against Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
That was weird.
One of my welcome to the NFL moment was my first game. I was Mike linebacker, and Gus Bradley was talking in my helmet. But do you remember Big Red Bryant, Chris Clemens, me bang? They was jawing back and forth with the Niners, and I couldn't hear. And so I was like, "Shut the hell up!" I said that to them. I said, "Y'all shut the hell up!" And they stayed quiet for about 2 seconds. I was like, "Shut your rookie ass up! Who do you think you talking to?" And I was like, "I can't hear. Y'all be quiet." And so they was like, to this day, they'll bring up this moment. They was like, "KJ, we knew right then and there that you was one of us. When you told us to shut the hell up."
Oh, wow.
We didn't back down from it. We told you to,
right.
Get in line, but they knew right then and there that I was going to be one of the boys.
There were some pretty tough dudes there. Chris Clemens, pretty tough dude, huh?
Yeah, he was.
What?
He was tough. He was a softy at heart. Clemens was a softy at heart, but he put on this show like he's this big, strong, tough guy. Clem, I know you, bro. Like, you're really good dude, bro. You don't got to be this big, strong, tough guy with me. Like, it's all good, bro.
If he doesn't get hurt in the Washington game in 2012, do you guys maybe get to the Super Bowl a year earlier? No?
Atlanta was good.
They were good.
Atlanta was good. The Niners were good. Maybe. I don't know. I think that was good that we lost that game.
Why?
We wasn't ready. It wasn't our time.
Yeah.
Everybody was rookies. You know, Russ was a rookie. Bob was a rookie. It was my second year. Second year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's use this moment to build and to learn from. Get a taste of it. Let's get a taste of what this Super Bowl and these playoffs feel like, and let's take off from there.
We sort of talked a little bit around Russ, but I mean, he's such an important figure in all of this, and yet in so many ways kind of removed from a lot of it. What should I know about Russell Wilson?
Why do you think he's removed from it?
Well, I guess in some ways the stories I've heard that he's removed from it, some of the articles that have come out over the years, and some of that conversation about, you know, maybe the way the rest of the group felt about Russ. I've always kind of gotten the sense from afar that maybe he wasn't in the, what'd you call it, the production room? That Russ wasn't in the production room with you guys.
Russ was in the production room with us.
He was.
Yeah, the whole team was in there.
Good.
And I love Russ. Russ was phenomenal. Any Sundays on the football field, I want Russ as my quarterback. And but when we talk about team dynamics, team chemistry, like when you talk about the quarterback in particular, it's what, two guys in the room. And so I believe that naturally the fellas, defensively speaking, we gelled with one another. We gelled with one another and guys on the offense. And so he's definitely a part of the group. He's definitely loved. But when you talk about team chemistry and team bonding, it wasn't as tight as like me and Bobby or me and Sherm or me and Cam.
You think that's normal with the quarterback?
I had Derek Carr last year.
Yeah.
And I love what I saw with Derek Carr. Derek Carr was with the boys, having lunch with them, and gelled really well. And so you do hear about quarterbacks just kind of being in their own little world. You know, they're making $40, $50 million. You know, can they relate to a practice squad? You know, can they connect with the practice squad?
And they get the most criticism and the most, you know, blame and the most credit. I mean, like, for the most part, if you were to ask the casual football fan, hey, who's on this team? Are they any good? They know the quarterback and maybe another player, and that's it. And
in Russ's defense, like when Russ came, like it was defense and run the ball. And I believe that media speaking, like I feel like media put Russ up on this high pedestal, and it's like Russ is the reason why they're getting these wins, and Russ is the reason they're getting success. And you know, we're looking at it as like it's Marshawn and it's the defense that's really doing the work. And I believe that for unfortunate reason, it could have caused some divisiveness between, you know, brothers to brother. And so that's real unfortunate that I feel like we let certain things get into the way of
the credit game.
Yeah, that like who gets the credit of who gets success. Like who really gives a damn? Like we're winning. Russ is the quarterback. They should say that Russ is going to be the guy. They should say that because that's what quarterbacks. That's what they do. And so it's unfortunate that we just had that, you know, little bickering back and forth between, you know, players of who's the best or who should get the shine, because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter.
Why do you think Russ is no longer here?
Because it was time. It was time. It was time.
Time for him or time for them?
Time for the organization.
You think the organization needed to move on?
I believe that both parties needed to, like, this time it's no longer.
Yeah.
And I believe that he went to a phenomenal spot. I believe that Russ was growing. Like, I'm not the same guy that's going to hand the ball off 25, 30 times. I could win the game with my arm. And I believe that Russ can do that. And I believe that when you look at Coach Carroll and how he sees things, it's like, yeah, you probably can, but I have my way that I want to do things. This is how we're going to do it. And if you don't want to align with it, then it's going to show up on game days. I remember times when Russ was like, man, let's go 2 minutes. Let's go 2 minutes in the middle of the first and second quarter to get things going. Nah, we're going to do things this way, control the game.
When you say the no, that would come from Pete or from the offensive coordinator? Where does the no come from?
I don't know, but everything's come from the top dog.
At the end of the day,
everything comes from the top dog.
Right.
And so you just see like Russ, like, man, I'm the man, like, and rightfully so, he is.
Yeah.
But on game days, you got to be in sync with the coaches and the coordinator to really execute and deliver wins on Sundays.
Do you think, and this is sort of the debate that we've had over and over again, I'll kind of drag you into it because you're here, you know, should they have committed more to Russ over the last couple of years? If they had, would they have won more?
Committed what to him?
Well, the style of offense, I guess, that you're talking about, the idea of building around him more, not more money necessarily. I think he's got plenty of that.
Yeah.
But some of that control and style that it sounds like he wanted.
I don't want to. Let me. How do I word this? I guess the question is, do the coaches believe he could execute
Right.
what he believes he can execute?
Do you?
I believe that with Russ said, if you give Russ an up-tempo offense, I do believe Russ can do that. A muddle huddle, we call it muddle huddle.
Yeah.
I do believe he can execute that. But the style would have to be the same. The style would have to be run game, play action, get the ball downfield. To say we're going to just get back in shotgun and Drew Brees, everybody, two completely different styles. If they could have done that for Russell, I do believe that could have been really, really good.
It's interesting the way you talk about that. I mean, I've always felt like Russ is, first of all, he's deadly accurate, right? He's an incredibly accurate passer. His legs obviously are the dual threat that he brought for so long. Kick him up above, whatever else he can do with his arm, which is incredible. The mind, his ability late in games, his ability not to turn the ball over. Russ has some really spectacular skills and has been one of the best quarterbacks in the league for a decade. It also has always seemed to me that when they've sort of drifted, and you were here a couple of years ago when the let Russ cook thing started and it looked like Russ was going to be an MVP candidate early, and then the interceptions came and the defense really seemed to struggle.
Yeah.
I always got the sense in Pete's mind, one of the reasons the defense was struggling was because of what was happening on the offense and that it didn't look like Pete's system.
You mean the offensive success led to the defensive struggles?
Maybe, yeah, or just sort of the style of offensive success led to the defensive struggles. That because it was so quick, up-tempo, et cetera, the ramification of that was what happened to the defense.
No, you are a smart man. You're the first person I ever heard say that.
How about that?
You're the first person I ever heard say that.
You're the first person who's ever called me
encourage
smart, so there you go.
I've never said this.
I'm not going to cut that for you.
I've never said this publicly, but you're onto something. I believe that Russell's doing so well, scoring so fast, putting up a lot of points early in the season. But internally, what was happening was, okay, the opposing offense, like, we got to keep up with this offense. They were scoring a lot of points on us. So you look at the games, it'll be high scoring. We just sneak out wins. That didn't look good. That didn't look good.
I mean, it was the defense was historically bad for a little while.
Yeah, because the offense was scoring so much, and so internally the other offense was passing a lot to try to keep up, and we wasn't getting off the field like that. And so you're right, like Russell's doing so well, and the defense was struggling. It was like, damn, we're winning, but the style that we're winning in is not the way that I want it to be. Yeah. So let's jiggy rig some stuff.
Hey, so in some of that conversation about kind of where the defense has been, where it's going, et cetera, we've heard from some of the players, and I think you've heard the Quandre Diggs sound from last year. That was on the Ben Baller podcast as he was talking about, accountability and pass rushers, sort of everybody's responsibility. And then Ryan Neal, this was just like a week or so ago after an OTA practice. I found this fascinating that he would say this after a practice about last year's defense.
No, we doing the same thing, but like you said, the biggest difference is the front seven, and that's what I'm most excited about because we got some hungry young dogs down there, and I think what the defense is going to do for them is put them in better positions to play the game that they know how to play. Last year we had a couple issues, but this year I can really see us like fixing it and letting people rush who's supposed to rush, letting people cover who's supposed to cover, and that's just really the tweak. You know what I mean? It's just a simple change.
I mean, that seems like a pretty big tweak. How do you get to a point where multiple guys on the team are commenting on the fact that pass rushers were dropping back into coverage and other guys were rushing the passer?
Yeah, I believe that there's clearly a message going on amongst players, a lot of talk going on amongst them and stuff that they're upset about. And I guess my question, to the team or to the players is like, where does this come from? Like, who call is it to have pass rushers dropping? Where does that stem from? And if that is the case, when we're in the midst of the season, how do we fix this? What are you as a player doing to communicate with your head coach, communicate with the defensive coordinator to get this thing fixed? Because anybody can sit there on the radio and in the media to talk about it, but the really good players, the really good teams, they take a problem and they fix that mess during the season.
Well, and did they have the players with enough seniority who felt comfortable saying that kind of thing? I mean, they got a lot of younger guys. It's not like you guys at the end. I mean, how comfortable did everybody feel to say something like that?
I believe that just goes to show, like, you need the right guys in the building to essentially, hold coaches accountable or communicate with the coaches. Hey, coach, do you see do you see what we're doing? We got to start doing this. We have Benson Mayowa doing stuff that he's not essentially capable of doing, and so you need the right guys in the building to execute whatever mission you're trying to execute. And so you can get there and say stuff that, we had problems with guys doing this and that. You didn't see that for 17 games, and that didn't get fixed. So what does it say about you as a player? Coaches got to handle these spots. First, I'll start with the coaches. Get stuff right. But as a player, you got to be able to communicate and collaborate effectively with the coaches
and
as well.
If you were here last year, that's part of your job, right? You're a veteran player at that point.
Yeah, and there was instances where when I was on the team, like we was getting torched. Like, it was bad. I take the DBs, us and the linebackers. Let's watch film together. Let's do this and that. I need you. We're playing this team. We're playing the Niners this week. Trey, this is what I need from you. This is what you got to execute for this game. And you just see when you connect as a team, when leadership is on point, the season and the playmaking and the play starts looking way better.
Well, it also felt like at the same time, and now we've heard a little bit about this from Quandre Diggs, from some other players as well, that maybe some of the aggressiveness in the defense maybe was lost over time. Clint Hurt talked a little bit when he first became coordinator, and actually when he was on with me a couple of weeks ago, about a change in their zone style, that it's going to be, what did he say, less spot drop and vision and more matchup. I'm not going to pretend like I understood what those things meant when he said it, but then I got him to explain it, and so I think we all kind of have the idea of what he's trying to say now. You probably understand it a lot better than me, obviously, but was some of that aggressiveness lost? It's one of the things I talked about with Bobby, is it felt like the splash plays started to deteriorate for your defense. And while there were some big moments and big plays late in games, as you said, that sort of dominant, interception, forced fumbles, etc., started to tail off.
Well, here's the thing. We changed the defense and we got more aggressive. But what happened was, when you get aggressive, you got to be able to hold up to that aggression to where you don't get beat on certain things. We were so aggressive that we was getting beat on being aggressive.
Right.
If that
they were
makes
using
sense.
it against you.
They was using our aggression against us.
Right.
So
Pete doesn't want to get beat deep ever.
So we had to change it. We had to change. Okay, we're getting beat. Cam Newton putting up freaking 400 yards against us. We're going to Atlanta, and the backup quarterback is putting up
Matt Schaub.
XYZ on us. So we got to change some stuff. And so we had to pull it back a little bit. And so it sounds good on paper. Everything sounds good on paper. We're going to go to a 3-4 defense and do this and that. But when stuff gets real, you always go back to what you know. You always go back to what you know. And so we're going to see what this looks like. Hopefully it looks great.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, game 4, game 5, it's not looking where it's supposed to. Hey, I've won off of this. I'm going to go back to this, and this is how it's going to be.
Yeah, you think it's got to be a little uncomfortable for Pete. I mean, it feels like he's committed to it, right? He said we're going to a 3-4, some of the same principles. He brought in, he elevated Clint Hurt. He brought in Sean Desai. He brought in Carl Scott, brought in a lot of guys that have sort of run this 3-4 idea principle before. And then he went out and drafted players that fit that style. Right. I mean, the kid out of Minnesota, that's specifically what he is, Boye Mafe. He is a 3-4 outside linebacker. He's not a 4-3 defensive end. I mean, it sure feels like there's a lot of commitment, but that's got to be hard for Coach.
You got to let go. You got to let go as a head coach. You got to let go and trust these guys. Trust the scheme that they can execute what you envision for this team. And so and it may look shaky. It may look a little funny, because you got a tough schedule. But you got to trust these guys and just let it build. Let it build. And it may not happen this year, but keep it going, and it may come to fruition to where you want to see, like, this is what it looks like. I got the personnel, I got the play calling, I got everything I need to really go forward, with this organization.
You think this defense succeeds? You like what do you make of the personnel on this team now?
I went and watched them at OTAs.
Okay.
I believe they got some good pieces.
Who do you like?
The corner, the rookie, not Kobe.
The tall kid.
The tall kid. He's like 6'4".
Tariq Woolen.
Yeah.
You mean Sherm too?
We're not going to go that far. We're not going to go that far. Don't do that.
All right.
But I saw him at practice. I'm like, dang, this kid looks really
It's like a pterodactyl.
He looks really good. He got a pick at practice.
Yep.
And so I like what I see. I love Sidney Jones. I love Sidney at corner. And with Cody and Jordan, I love both of them. They got to take the next step.
Tell me a little bit about Jordan Brooks. What kind of player can he be?
Jordan can be really good.
Jordan, really athletic, right?
Jordan is very athletic. What Jordan got to take the next step. I see Jordan has the green dot now. Jordan, you filling in. You got to listen to the call, deliver it to 10 other guys.
Tell the veterans to shut up.
Tell them to shut the hell up in a very loud stadium. You got to be everything for everybody and for yourself. And so I'm looking forward to seeing him take that next step with that green dot, being the Mike backer, and running the defense.
So what are you going to do? What's next for KJ Wright?
I'm about to, how do I word this? I'm about to keep working out.
Yeah.
Stay ready for a phone call. And if a phone call does not come when I want the phone call to come, then I'll be okay.
Yeah.
I will be okay.
You're kind of getting yourself in that headspace.
I got myself in the headspace last year. Jesus. And when you talk about another low
it took
moment,
forever, right?
My God.
Were you limiting the number of teams you would go to, or was it just unfortunately
no.
you just found out the market wasn't what you hoped it would be?
Jesus Christ. Like,
that's
what more
hurt.
do I have to do on the football field to show you guys I'm a good football player?
Yeah.
What more do you guys want me to do? I had my best year in year 10.
Yeah.
One of my best years. And the phone was absolutely dry. It was so dry.
And so what are you doing now? You calling your agent? Like, hey, drum up some business here. What's going on?
I'm like, what is going on? Like, his style was sit back, teams know you right here, we're going to wait. I said, no, call X, Y, and Z, see what happens. So he started calling teams. Still nothing. The 49ers made a little push. Nothing. And so I was looking like, I fired him.
You fired your agent?
Yeah. And he was like, you think I'm the reason you don't have a job? I said, no, I don't think you're the reason I don't have a job. Do I think you're helping me? Do I think you're really pushing for it and making it happen? I think you could do better. And so 4 days later, I had a job with the Raiders. And but yeah, man, that was a really low point for me.
It's got to be. And so now all of a sudden you're in a new locker room for the first time. You got to meet 50 new people.
New guy in the building, new old guy.
Right.
And learn the playbook in a week, play the Ravens and Lamar Jackson that Monday night football. And I don't have an opportunity to get my body acclimated because I was sore as what going into the game because my legs were dead. Because we had pads on like twice that week. Like my legs are freaking fried. I haven't got a chance to acclimate. And so going there and
it's a messy year too, right? I mean, the Gruden stuff goes down. I mean, it was a messy year for that team.
It was tough.
Rich Bisaccia, a good coach.
I love that dude.
It sure seemed like he got everything going in the right direction despite all of those potential distractions.
How do you not hire him?
Right?
How do you not hire him to be your future head coach?
Shocked by that.
That's when you talk about overthinking.
Right.
Overthinking. Oh, let me go find what's the coach they have now?
I don't even know who
from the Patriots.
McDaniels.
Josh
Let me
McDaniels.
go hire this quarterback guru. Who is he? Phenomenal coach. Phenomenal. But the momentum is here. You got the team. The guys love him. Give him another year. And if it don't look good, then go in another direction. But don't mess this up.
Yeah.
Don't mess this up.
So now you'll wait for a call. Hopefully it comes. You're working out. You're sort of staying ready. At some point, I would think the workouts become more of a pain than something you want to keep doing. And you're like, no, if this call don't come, I'm not going to work out anymore.
Getting under that bench press does not feel the same as it did year 3, year 4. Squatting 400 pounds, knowing you're on a team, knowing you're about to have another Pro Bowl year, it don't feel the same.
No.
And so I think it's pretty clear that the way that my brain is operating right now, by training camp, I can't see myself I for damn sure can't see myself getting off the couch during the season.
Right.
Like I would not do that.
So you put in the retirement papers at some point if that's the way it goes.
I'm not getting off the couch in the season.
What Pete sort of alluded to the fact that you guys have spoken about some sort of a role. I think the assumption was that they were talking about some sort of a coaching role, et cetera. Is that something that you'd be interested in?
I want to be in the building.
Yeah.
I want to be in the building. I want to help build the team back to where I know they could be. Whether it's on the front office side, whether it's on the consulting side, coaching side, I would love to be in that building to help that team, to serve, to get back to a Super Bowl championship caliber team.
Because you're a Seattle guy now. You're living here. You've made your life here.
I'm a Seahawks legend.
Oh.
So I'm a Seahawks legend. And so one thing that you cannot put a price tag on is guys that's seen it, guys that's done it, guys that know what it looks like. And like, man, let's get this guy in here. Let's let this guy get around the guys and to invest, put some wisdom in these guys and to see talent around the league. Like, hey, this guy would really fit into this organization.
Which part excites you? Is it the culture building element? Is it the personnel side of it? Is it coaching technique? Which one of those things excites you?
All of them, but really just just building the team, putting the right guys in, getting the wrong guys out. To really just build something strong and powerful.
Like the personnel side, like sort of the GM element of it, sounds interesting to you.
And so that's a whole new ball game, just understanding salary cap and how do you base this guy here, how much should he get paid, or looking at a guy, is this guy a third round or undrafted talent?
Yeah,
there's so much going to that. I'm intrigued to learn, and so it'll be really cool.
Well, if you want to do media, if you're interested in waking up at 5 or 4 in the morning every day and coming in to do radio, I don't have the ability to offer you a job, but I'd certainly fight for one if you want to come in and hang out more often.
How early do you get here?
You don't want to know about that. It's just you talk about how great. You can ask Cliff. He did it for a little while, and yes.
I did a 3-hour radio show the other day.
Yeah, how was it?
It was intense.
Yeah.
3 hours is long.
Yeah, no kidding. That's why you end up saying dumb stuff, and then all the players get mad at you when you're all done.
Man, so we'll see. I'll pop in here and there. But.
All right. Well, you're welcome anytime. This was a blast. Thank you for doing this.
I appreciate it, man.
All right, there you go. There's KJ Wright, Seahawks legend, the only way to describe him, and perhaps once in future Seahawk as well.